60 miles inland on the Antarctic ice shelf, thousands of emperor penguins stand motionless in complete darkness, each balancing a single egg on their feet. The temperature is minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind tears across the ice at 100 miles per hour. If that egg touches the ground for even a second, it freezes solid. The male holding it hasn't eaten in 2 months and won't eat for 2 more. This shouldn't be possible. No bird, no mammal, no complex life should survive 4 months of starvation in the most hostile environment on Earth. But emperor penguins don't just survive it, they choose it. They walk inland as winter begins, into the darkness, into the cold, deliberately. And the reason why reveals something extraordinary about evolution, sacrifice, and the fragile balance holding an entire ecosystem together. Antarctica is a place designed to kill. The interior receives less precipitation than the Sahara Desert. What little snow falls never melts. It accumulates, compresses, and builds into an ice sheet that reaches over 2 miles thick in places. Winter temperatures average minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, but that number barely tells the story. Winds routinely exceed 60 miles per hour, driving wind chills below minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. At that threshold, exposed human skin freezes in under 90 seconds. Internal body systems begin shutting down almost immediately. The ice itself presents another threat. It's constantly moving, grinding, fracturing. Sea ice locked to the coast can vanish between seasons. Pack ice drifts with ocean currents. Glaciers calve icebergs that float north until warmer water dissolves them. Nothing here is stable. Nothing here is forgiving. Yet this frozen wasteland supports the largest penguin populations on the planet. More than 12 million penguins return to Antarctica every year. Emperor penguins gather in colonies of tens of thousands, standing on ice that will later disappear beneath them. This is a place where life should fail by every logical measure. But penguins remain. Not through luck, but through an evolutionary bargain struck over millions of years. Every behavior, every physical adaptation, every moment of their annual cycle is a negotiation with the cold, and nowhere is that negotiation more brutal than in the breeding strategy of emperor penguins. While every other Antarctic species migrates toward warmer waters or waits for summer, emperors do the opposite. They begin their breeding cycle when Antarctica is at its absolute worst. They move inland in March and April, just as the sun disappears below the horizon for 4 months of continuous darkness. For most animals, winter is something to escape. For emperors, it's the only time breeding can work. The logic is harsh, but precise. Emperor penguins need stable ice platforms large enough to hold colonies of tens of thousands of birds. That stability only exists when sea ice reaches its maximum extent during the depths of winter. If they waited for spring or summer, the ice would fracture and break apart. Their chicks would hatch directly into open water with no platform to stand on. So they arrive early, walking across the newly frozen ocean in complete darkness toward breeding sites that look identical to every other stretch of ice around them. Yet somehow, they return to the same locations year after year. Each female produces a single egg. One attempt, one life, one chance to pass on her genetics. The transfer from female to male must be flawless. The egg cannot touch the ice. Even brief contact means instant freezing and death. The handoff itself is a delicate dance. The female carefully rolls the egg from her feet onto the male's feet. Both birds moving with extreme precision. One slip, one moment of imbalance, and months of preparation end in failure. Some pairs lose their eggs during this transfer. Those that do must wait an entire year for another chance. After the handoff, the colony splits. Females begin the long march back to the ocean to feed after months of fasting. The journey can span more than 60 miles across barren ice in complete darkness, navigating by memory and the stars when clouds permit. Males remain behind, each balancing an egg on his feet, hidden beneath a flap of warm skin called a brood pouch. And then, the real test begins. For the next 4 months, male emperor penguins stand in darkness and storm, fasting completely while incubating their eggs. Their metabolism slows dramatically, their fat reserves burn away. Their body weight drops by nearly half. During this time, They must protect the egg from temperatures that would kill most warm-blooded creatures in minutes. The egg itself is surprisingly large, weighing around a pound, and maintaining its temperature requires constant vigilance. If the male shifts position carelessly, if he loses his balance in a storm, if exhaustion causes him to stumble, the egg can roll away and freeze within seconds. If you're already amazed by what these birds endure, subscribe now. Because what comes next about how they create warmth in the coldest place on Earth is one of the most elegant survival mechanisms in all of nature. To survive the worst of Antarctic winter, emperors rely on a behavior so effective it seems almost too simple: the huddle. This isn't just a crowd of birds pressed together. It's a dynamic, self-organizing system with no leader and no hierarchy. Penguins on the exposed outer edge slowly work their way inward, while those in the warm center gradually shift outward. The entire mass rotates in gentle waves, ensuring no individual bears the full brunt of the wind for too long. The mechanics of the huddle are remarkable. Birds on the windward side pack so tightly that there's barely space between them. This creates a barrier that deflects wind-up and over the formation rather than through it. The collective body heat of thousands of birds trapped within this barrier creates a microclimate that can be more than 150 degrees warmer than the air just a few feet away. Inside the huddle, temperatures can reach 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Just inches away, outside the formation, the wind howls at -80 degrees Fahrenheit. Life exists in that narrow thermal gradient between warmth and lethal cold. Each male stands completely still, egg balanced on his feet, maintaining that position through wind, hunger, and the constant pressure of thousands of bodies. If the egg slips, it dies. So, he doesn't move. He just stands, day after day, week after week, for months. The energy savings from huddling are substantial. Studies have shown that penguins in the center of a huddle can reduce their energy expenditure by up to 50% compared to standing alone. This is the difference between survival and starvation when you're fasting for 4 months in sub-zero temperatures. As winter progresses, storms intensify, wind speeds increase, the huddle compresses tighter, and then, slowly, imperceptibly at first, the light begins to return. Days lengthen, temperatures rise slightly, the ice starts to loosen its grip, and from beneath the male's brood pouches comes the first sound of new life, the faint chirps of newly hatched chicks. The males are skeletal, exhausted, barely able to stand. They've lost nearly half their body weight. They haven't eaten in over 120 days, and now they must keep their chicks alive while waiting for the females to return. The newly hatched chicks are tiny, weighing only a few ounces, covered in down that provides minimal insulation. They're completely dependent on their fathers for warmth. The males produce a substance called crop milk, a protein and fat-rich secretion that can sustain the chick for a few days. But it's not enough for long-term survival. When the females finally arrive back from the ocean, fattened from months of feeding, they do something remarkable. They locate their specific partner and chick in a colony of thousands, guided only by unique vocalizations that cut through the chaos of tens of thousands of calling birds. It's an acoustic needle in a haystack, and it works. Each penguin's call is as distinctive as a human fingerprint, a specific frequency pattern that their mate recognizes instantly, even in the deafening roar of the colony. Once reunited, the female takes over chick-rearing duties, regurgitating fish and krill she's stored in her stomach during her time at sea. The male, now starving and desperate, begins his own long walk back to the ocean. After more than 120 days without food, even this final trek tests the limits of endurance. Not all males complete it. Some collapse on the ice, too weak to continue. Others fall through thin ice or are taken by predators. Those that survive have endured one of the most demanding trials in the animal kingdom. Those that do reach the water plunge in immediately, diving deep to hunt fish and squid in the brief productivity of the Antarctic summer. Their hardest trial is over. But for the chicks, born into the coldest place on Earth during the tail end of winter, survival is only beginning. They must grow fast enough to fledge before the ice platform beneath them breaks apart and disappears into the sea. The timing is everything. Too slow, and they drown. Too fast, and they lack the necessary fat reserves to survive their first winter at sea. It's a razor-thin margin for error, evolved over millions of years, calibrated to the precise rhythm of Antarctic ice and light. And it's only one piece of a much larger cycle now, unfolding across the entire continent. The ice is fracturing, the ocean is waking, the planet tilts on its axis, and slowly, light spills back across Antarctica. It begins as a pale glow on the horizon, barely distinguishable from the ice. Then it spreads, day by day, until the sun finally breaches the edge of the world and stays there, climbing higher each day, never fully setting. The cold doesn't vanish, but it weakens, shadows shorten, color returns to a landscape that's been monochrome for months. And beneath the breakup of sea ice, something extraordinary happens. For the first time in half a year, sunlight penetrates the ocean. Microscopic phytoplankton, dormant through the long darkness, explode into bloom. They multiply so rapidly that satellite images show vast green swirls spreading across the Southern Ocean. This burst of photosynthetic life becomes the foundation of the entire Antarctic food web. The phytoplankton blooms are so massive they can be seen from space, turning sections of the ocean a vivid green visible in satellite imagery. In some areas, the concentration of phytoplankton becomes so dense it affects the ocean's albedo, its ability to reflect sunlight. Following the phytoplankton comes krill, billions upon billions of krill. These small shrimp-like crustaceans form swarms so dense they turn the water pink. Some swarms stretch for miles and contain trillions of individuals. Few ecosystems on Earth depend so completely on a single small creature. Krill are the linchpin. Without them, the entire system collapses. Individual krill are only about 2 inches long, but their collective biomass is estimated to exceed 500 million tons. They feed on the phytoplankton blooms, filtering microscopic plants from the water with specialized feeding appendages. A single krill can filter several liters of water per day. As the ocean surges with life, the coastlines erupt with activity. Adelie penguins appear first, returning to rocky shores cleared of winter snow. They're smaller than emperors, faster on land, and built for speed. They begin constructing nests from pebbles, each stone stolen, traded, or defended in constant territorial negotiations. Farther north along the coast, Gentoo penguins arrive from feeding grounds they have occupied throughout winter. They prefer ice-free shorelines and will travel long distances to find them. Their breeding season is more flexible, more responsive to changing conditions. Chinstrap penguins gather on steep island slopes and exposed peninsulas. Their name comes from the thin black line running under their beak, but their survival comes from precision. They time their return to match peak krill abundance. Arrive too early, and there's nothing to feed chicks. Arrive too late, and the best nesting sites are taken. Everything is calibrated to the pulse of the ocean, and the ocean is filling fast. Leopard seals slip between patches of broken ice, patrolling the water's edge. Their heads rise like shadows, scanning for young penguins entering the sea for the first time. A penguin's first ocean dive is often its last. These seals are formidable predators, reaching lengths of over 10 feet and weighing up to 1,000 pounds. Their jaws contain large, interlocking teeth designed to grip and tear. They're surprisingly agile in water, capable of bursts of speed that can overtake even the fastest swimming penguins. Giant petrels circle above colonies, opportunistic and relentless. They'll take eggs, unguarded chicks, even weak or injured adults. Beneath the surface, orcas move through the water with terrifying efficiency. Different orca populations specialize in different prey. Some hunt seals, others target penguins exclusively. Still others work in coordinated groups to create waves that wash prey off ice flows. They are the apex predators of this ocean, and the summer melt gives them free range. For most species, this is the season of abundance, a brief window when the ocean is generous, when prey is plentiful, when the ice is navigable. But this abundance is fragile. It depends entirely on the health of a food web that starts with microscopic plants and flows through krill to everything else. If you're starting to understand how interconnected this ecosystem really is, hit subscribe, because we're about to visit the most productive penguin colony on the planet. A place so different from Antarctica, it barely seems real. More than 1,000 miles from the Antarctic continent lies South Georgia, a sub-Antarctic island that feels almost generous by comparison. Here, summers last longer, waters run richer. Ocean currents collide in ways that pull deep nutrients toward the surface. Cold Antarctic water meets warmer sub-Antarctic currents. Upwellings churn the seafloor. The result is one of the most productive marine environments on Earth. And at the heart of it, on a narrow coastal plain called St. Andrews Bay, stands one of the largest king penguin colonies on the planet. From a distance, the colony looks like a single living surface, a dense carpet of black, white, and gold, stretching from the beach to the slopes of retreating glaciers. Up close, the scale becomes overwhelming. More than 500,000 king penguins pack this beach. Their calls merge into a continuous metallic roar as thousands of parents and chicks try to locate one another in the chaos. South Georgia is nothing like the emperor world we just left. King penguins don't march inland. They don't incubate through months of darkness. They don't huddle against hurricane winds. Their strategy revolves around a single advantage. The ocean never leaves. Food remains accessible year-round. Climate, while still harsh, doesn't swing between the extremes emperors endure. King penguins breed on bare ground with no nests, just small cleared spaces in the crowd. And their breeding cycle is extraordinarily slow. It takes more than 14 months to raise a single chick from egg to fledging. Some pairs skip breeding years entirely because the cycle stretches across seasons. In the time one emperor chick hatches and fledges, a king chick may still be growing its waterproof feathers. This extended timeline only works because of stability. The ocean stays accessible. Food remains abundant across most seasons. There's no race against melting ice. But stability doesn't mean safety. The colony moves like a city. Adults shove and negotiate for space. Chicks form creches, massive shifting groups of brown downy juveniles who huddle together while their parents hunt offshore. These gatherings are loud, restless, and constantly rearranging as hungry chicks push forward, hoping their returning parent will feed them. The creches can contain thousands of chicks, all pressed together for warmth and safety. From above, they look like vast brown carpets dotted with the black and white forms of returning adults. Adults dive into surrounding waters, hunting lanternfish, squid, and krill, the same krill that drives the entire Antarctic system. Even here, more than 1,000 miles north, everything still depends on that one small crustacean. King penguins are exceptional divers. They regularly reach depths of over 300 meters and can stay submerged for more than 10 minutes. Their dives take them into the mesopelagic zone, the twilight realm, where sunlight fades and bioluminescent creatures dominate. And where life concentrates, predators follow. Skuas stalk colony edges, watching for unattended eggs and chicks. Giant petrels glide overhead. Fur seals and elephant seals wait along beaches for penguins that hesitate at the wrong moment. Offshore, orcas patrol feeding grounds with coordinated precision. King penguins survive not through extreme endurance like emperors, but through numbers, mobility, and the sheer productivity of the waters they depend on. Their gamble is straightforward. Raise chicks slowly. Feed them well. Hold on long enough for the next season to begin. It's a strategy that works. For now. Antarctica may be a continent of ice, but the outer edges of the Southern Ocean tell a different story. A patchwork of islands, cliffs, grasslands, and rocky beaches, where penguins have carved out lives in places that seem impossible at first glance. These aren't the massive emperor breeding grounds or the packed king penguin colonies of South Georgia. These are smaller, more fragmented worlds, warmer, wetter, steeper, and changing faster than anything farther south. Yet this fringe is where most penguin species actually live. They avoid the deep interior. They sidestep the darkest winters. They survive by adapting to whatever the edge throws at them. Farther north, coastlines transform into steep wind-carved cliffs. This is rockhopper territory. Their survival strategy is simple but daring. Leap through violent surf, scale near vertical rocks, and nest on ledges that seem unreachable. The effort is worth it. Cliffs provide protection from most predators. Large waves can't reach their nests. And cold, nutrient-rich waters lie just below. Rockhoppers don't rely on sea ice or predictable seasons. They rely on agility, a trait that lets them inhabit places no other penguin would dare. Their name comes from their distinctive method of locomotion. Rather than waddling like most penguins, they hop from rock to rock with both feet together, using their powerful legs to spring vertically up cliff faces that would be impassable for other species. Then the landscape shifts again. The Falkland Islands look almost gentle compared to Antarctica. Rolling hills, tall grasses, peat soil, and long beaches. Multiple penguin species overlap here, each using the land differently. Magellanic penguins dig burrows into soft soil, raising their chicks underground in darkness. In good years, the Falklands offer something rare, a longer, milder summer that makes raising young far easier. Gentoos and rockhoppers share these coasts too, each carving out space in the mix of grass, rock, and beach. Across other island chains, the South Sandwich Islands, the South Orkneys, penguins deal with new combinations of steep terrain, shifting ice, and unpredictable storms. Macaroni penguins dominate many of these places, their colonies clinging to wet, sloping ground that seems too unstable to raise chicks. Yet, somehow, tens of thousands make it work every year. Each species has found its niche, its specific solution to the problem of survival at the edge of what's possible. And for millions of years, these solutions have worked. But now, something is changing. The Antarctic Peninsula is warming faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. Glaciers are shrinking, snow patterns are shifting. Areas that once froze reliably every winter now remain open water. Beaches that used to stay stable now crumble early in the season. The changes are measurable and accelerating. Average temperatures in the Antarctic Peninsula have risen by nearly 3 degrees Celsius over the past 50 years. That might not sound like much, but in an ecosystem calibrated to such narrow margins, it's transformative. Penguins are responding immediately, but not all in the same way. Adelie penguins, classic ice-dependent birds, once dominated the northern peninsula. They relied on predictable sea ice for feeding and stable summers for nesting. But when ice freezes too late or breaks too early, their entire breeding schedule collapses. Many Adelie colonies have shrunk dramatically, not because the birds are dying, but because the environment no longer follows the rhythm they evolved to depend on. Some colonies have declined by more than 70% in just 3 decades. Gentoo penguins, however, see opportunity. They prefer open water and adjust quickly when conditions shift. As the peninsula warms, Gentoo colonies are expanding southward, settling into areas that were once too cold for them. Their spread is rapid, visible, and ongoing. It shows how quickly wildlife can move when conditions allow, and how quickly those conditions are changing. Chinstrap penguins occupy the middle ground. They nest on rocky slopes scattered across the region. They're strong, efficient hunters, but their dependence on krill ties their fate directly to the health of a single resource. When krill populations decline, chinstrap colonies thin out with them. In some areas, populations have dropped by more than half in just a few decades. The peninsula has become a case study in contrasts. Decline for some species, expansion for others, all happening simultaneously in the same ecosystem. The stress looks different for each species, but the direction is clear. The Southern Ocean is changing faster than many penguins can adapt. Some species will shift into new ranges. Some will survive by altering behavior. Some may disappear entirely from places they once dominated. Penguins have always lived at the edge of what the planet allows. They've mastered conditions that would kill almost any other complex life. They've evolved strategies so precise, so finely tuned, that they seem almost miraculous. But now the edge itself is moving. The ice that provides platforms is less reliable. The krill that fuels the food web is shifting distribution. The timing of seasons that synchronized breeding for millions of years is becoming erratic. And every species must decide how to follow, whether it can follow, and how fast evolution can respond when the rules change faster than generations can adapt. The emperor penguins still walk inland each winter. They still huddle through the darkness. They still balance their eggs on their feet through months of starvation and storm. But the ice they stand on is forming later and breaking earlier. The storms are becoming more unpredictable. The ocean their chicks must reach is farther away. And the question becomes not whether these birds can endure what they've always endured, but whether the world they evolved for still exists at all. This is where the story stands. Not at an ending, but at a threshold. Emperor penguins still huddle through the darkest winter, king penguins still pack the beaches of South Georgia, and adelies, gentoos, chinstraps, rockhoppers, and macaronis still return to their ancestral breeding grounds. But the question is no longer whether they can survive what Antarctica throws at them. The question is whether they can survive fast enough to keep pace with a planet that's changing beneath their feet. If this story changed how you see survival at the edge of possibility, if you understand now that even the most resilient species face limits when change comes too fast, subscribe to the channel. There's an entire planet of ecosystems on the brink, and this is only the beginning. Don't miss what comes next.